So I thought I'd do a real quick video on this Clearview filtration unit that I've got on the car. First time I've ever used it. Saw some demonstrations at the PRI show, and it's a cool little unit, and really sort of you can see the contamination build up in the oil, well certainly through this 150 micron mesh. So I've done some numerous miles on the car, as you probably a few of you have seen, just going out doing some road miles, and I've kind of had a sort of distance that I wanted to cover before I wanted to drop the oil, the break-in oil. So we're coming around to that stage now. But I just wanted to do a quick vid on this because this in the filtration line, and we do a lot of this kind of stuff at work. So I wanted to just highlight this as they're quite a unique piece. So I've dropped the oil, and this did have oil in it, so I wish I'd have actually saved doing the video till then. But this here is a little air valve, just like you find on your wheel. So you just connect up an air line to that, and you purge the oil out of the top half of the filter because it's in two halves. You can see there. And then that pushes the oil through, and what you can see behind there is from the break-in process on the oil itself. So they're quite unique in the fact that you can, after the break-in process, like any engine, after a couple of oil changes, you won't see as much contamination in your oil, because obviously the engine's kind of free of all that as you start to sort of use your engine more and more. But later on, if all it takes is just an air purge on here, and you can see anything sitting in there, and if there's anything in there that really doesn't belong in there after you've got the engine bedded in and you're well on the way to using your engine, then it's a good signifier that something is not happy in there. So yeah, that's kind of where we are. I'm going to just nip the top off this, and I've got nowhere really I can put my camera to do it, but so I'm going to nip this off, and then I'll drop a couple of, or another video maybe on what we found on it. But as you can see in there, it's just what you'd expect to see after you drop your oil after your first engine oil change after having a new engine. So yeah, pretty good stuff. So I've got the top off, really simple, just undo your union for your oil line. So that's the glass top. As I said, it comes in two halves, but this is what it reveals. So that is literally all the break-in contamination, which you'd expect to see when you're dropping your oil. But the whole point of this is to prevent it getting back into the engine. And that's why I think these are absolutely priceless in terms of prevention and contamination and engine wear rates and all the rest of it. Obviously, you have your main filter on, which I've got down there. But this as an eyesight, an eyeline highlight for when you're doing your general maintenance on the car. This is just an example from break-in. But obviously, when you're racing, if it starts to look like this after your engine's been working absolutely fine, and you're sort of doing all the running on the road or on the track, and you just do a quick test by purging that air out, as I explained in this first video, this is essentially, if you start seeing this in a heavy amount, then obviously something's not happy in there. So this is normal when this what we're seeing now is normal when you consider break-in oil. So yeah, that's what we're talking about. And if you look if you empty your oil into a bowl or whatever, and you slowly drain the oil out after it's settled after a day or so, you can see that kind of build up in the bottom of your oil. So next thing now to do is to clean that off. Like I say, I've used the airline to purge the oil through all of these lines to get as much out of the engine as possible. I'll change the oil filter, the cartridge, This will be cleaned up, and it's a simple case of 4 bolts, put it back on, clean all this up, and then we'll run it again and do some more road miles, keep an eye on everything, and try and avoid getting all the contamination. On the next engine change, on the oil change, the cooler will go into circ for like a 50 micron clean, as well as the oil lines, so that we're not introducing any contamination. This early stage of all this breakdown stuff, getting this out of your engine now for me is critical. And I know this because doing what we do, we've seen some nasty examples of what can happen over time to engines and engine wear rates through the cleaning. So these units, obviously, I got this directly from the US after I was at the PRI show. And then after I'd seen numerous demonstrations, did a bit of research, I found out the main manufacturer, and we stopped them at Circ. You must have realised this was going to be a Circ video as well as me doing this, but you know, I'm trying to develop the car, develop ways in which to protect the engine, develop cooling systems. You know, if you notice, this is an incredibly small cooler for a 632 big block. Normally they're huge, but we're using a denser fins per inch. We're using a 4-pass system in this. We're trying out different things, and what works ends up going on other cars. What doesn't work, we don't use. It's, you know, we try and use as much thermal data and you know, anything that we can utilize as you know, info to help us improve core production, core design, that kind of thing. And more so now than ever, because a lot of these cars are street cars. So yeah, getting back to this, I'm going to get this mesh cleaned up, and then get it reassembled and back on the car. Get the fresh oil in it. We'll run it up and get some more street miles on it, and then we'll do this operation again until such point it's pretty much gone. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll try and do a few more on the car. I've never done them before. I'm not doing a YouTube channel or anything. This was just purely just to show you guys and gals that haven't seen one of these things close up and how they actually work. But yeah, good bit of safety kit when you're when you're spending the amount of money on these engines, as I'm sure we all know how much that is. So all right, ciao.